Wonderful. Nice to meet you. morning. Good morning. Shana Tova. Good morning. My name is Lisa Nam, and I'm so grateful we are together today. I am a fairly new BWC member, and already I so appreciate learning from and with this community. My role as MC today is to support our wonderful readers, speakers, and musicians who will together guide us through this time of reflection. Before our first reading, I have a few notes to share on accessibility and safety. Welcome to everyone who is joining us virtually. We're so glad you can join us. For everyone who is in this space physically, please take a moment to turn your cell phones off. It is very important today that we avoid crossing in front of the ASL interpretation, please. Restrooms are located downstairs and down this hallway, and there are emergency exits in the front and back. We have community safety volunteers present to support us in gathering safely. They are wearing neon vests and are available if you need assistance or have a safety concern. Thank you all for wearing your mask to protect the most vulnerable in our community. Please keep it on at all times when you are inside the building, except for readers when you are up front reading aloud. We are running low on booklets, so please share as you can. And finally, let's take a moment to be present with the people around us. Please turn to someone you don't know yet. Greet them and introduce yourself. Online attendees, you can send your greetings via the chat. Thank you. Thank you so much for filling this space with your voices and your warmth. Okay, thank you. We will now get started with our first reading.
L'Shana Tova. Welcome to the new year, 5785. For thousands of years, the Jewish people have marked the new year with the rituals of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and the 10 days between them, a time of reflection, forgiveness, and turning to do better.
As a secular, progressive Jewish community, today we are here to continue that tradition and provide time and space for introspection and growth, assessment and healing, receptiveness and renewal. We ask ourselves, how can I open my heart to the possibilities of the year to come?
We ask, what has transpired this past year? What am I grateful for? What must I apologize for? What has been my responsibility? What adjustments can I make for next year?
We acknowledge that we are meeting on the ancient homeland and traditional territory of the Massachusetts people. Boston Workers Circle now pays a voluntary land tax to the Massachusetts tribe at Ponkapoag as a symbolic gesture acknowledging the historical dispossession of indigenous lands and a way to support tribal sovereignty and economic development. We pay respect to Massachusetts peoples past, present, and future, and their continuing presence in their homeland and throughout the Massachusetts diaspora.
Amalia.
May these lights bring happiness, warmth, and a sense of unity with all who are celebrating Yontif. May these lights guide our way in this new year. For the Hebrew blessing, we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ladlik ner shel Yom Tov. In Ladino, we say, Saludamos el nuevo año según la tradición de nuestro pueblo, que empiece con el sonido del shofar, un año de paz y de libertad para todos. In
Yiddish we say, Mir begrüßen dem Neujahr, soll der Klang von Trua und Heben, ein Jahr von Shalom und Freiheit für alle Menschen. In English, that means, we welcome the new year in the tradition of our people. May the sound of the shofar begin a year of peace and freedom for all people.
Today, we come together as a community to consider the world as it is and the better world we hope to build together. When we ask, what has transpired this past year? Our hearts turn to the earliest days of the outgoing year, to the shocking Hamas assaults on Israeli citizens in kibbutzim and other communities on the border with Gaza, to the murders, sexual violence, and kidnappings, the fires and explosions, to the stories by surviving witnesses that for many of us in this space were terrifying echoes of the assaults on Jews in our memories and histories.
And again, when we ask, what has transpired this past year? Our hearts turn to the Israeli army's ongoing assault on Gaza, to the murders, the sexual violence, the fires and explosions, the leveling of homes, hospitals, whole cities, to the tens of thousands of dead Palestinian children, women, and men amid the rubble of their world. We learn from both Muslim and Jewish tradition that one life lost is a whole world lost. How can we face the enormity of what has been lost this past year? For many of us in this Boston Workers' Circle ritual space, our minds and hearts struggled in the past year with the weight and trauma of our Jewish and familial history and our contemporary political feelings about the struggles in Israel-Palestine, Israel's continuing occupation of Gaza and the West Bank, the illegal settler movement, the potential for a wider war, and fears of the worldwide rise in anti-Semitism. There is no military solution to this conflict. There must be a political solution.
It is easy to give up in despair, but we are so fortunate to have this community here, to join in grieving and organizing, to express our fears, and to take action to counter those fears. And we invite all of us to say together, keep my anger from becoming meanness. Keep my sorrow from collapsing into self-pity. Keep my heart soft enough to keep breathing. Keep my anger turned towards justice, not cruelty. And remind me that all of this, every bit of it, is for love. Keep me fiercely kind. Laura Jean Truman.
As we begin our treasured New Year's rituals, let them serve as guideposts, inviting us into the reflective space of the days of awe from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. While the process of self-reflection is done individually, we derive strength from sharing the process in our community.
This time is ours to settle more deeply into ourselves and as members of our community. Self-reflection can be uplifting, eye-opening, painful, steeped in regret, healing, and also inspiring. When we experience this with others, it reminds us that we are not alone. Together, we help one another to find the courage to do this honest self-reflection.
As we turn inward, let us also turn to each other, both in person and online. Let's wish each other a sweet and happy New Year.
And then we'll also sing to each other a sweet and happy New Year. We'll sing through the refrain a couple times to make sure that you've got it. Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente. Try that. Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente. May your year be sweet con la miel. Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente. May your vision bear fruit como manzana. May your soul find peace y grande alegría. Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente. May your heart be filled por la familia. May you start a new page en el libro de la vida. Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente. Añada buena, dulce alegre, seas bendito, seas contente.
Rosh Hashanah means the head, the beginning of the new year. So what does our New Year observation entail? We take stock, we reawaken, we remember. We greatly acknowledge all that the past year has brought many of us. It brought health and life, love, beauty and truth, strength and courage. Whatever good we have known this year, we reflect upon with joy. And in this hour, we also reflect upon our disappointments and how we have missed the mark. This year again has been especially hard. Our spirits and our coping skills continue to be tested. As we reflect, let us observe what we have learned from the events of the last year and consider how we can apply these lessons to make changes in the new year.
on the new moon of Tishrei. On the new moon of Tishrei, the month of harmony's return, we remember and renew the dance of creation inside us, in community and in the way we touch life. On the 7th month, we gather to renew ourselves on life's way by pausing and looking inward to behold the landscape of our traveled way. At this time of year, we heal our wounds by invoking the ancient ways of restoring inner peace. We cast our crumbs to the river, beat our chests, blow the shofar, confess the crooked way. We sing and dance and share our food, tell our stories, and pray. Play. We play, we don't pray. My mistake. And in the pause of celebration, we are free to forgive, to embrace, to reconcile, to restore at one ment to the soul until we find again our Carmen heart of joy.
In the traditions of our people, we voice our joy and gratitude for our continuing life together as a community.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
As members of Teens Acting for Social Change, TASK, and the last year's Zion class, the B'nai Mitzvah class, we are honored to participate in our Boston Worker Circle community, by leading this part of Rosh Hashanah. This is the first day of the Jewish New Year, a day when we come together to remember the year just passed and to plan for the year to come. According to tradition, Adam and Eve were created on Rosh Hashanah, and thus it is considered the birthday of the world. Generations later on Rosh Hashanah, Joseph was freed from an Egyptian prison, and later still, the Jews in Egypt rebelled on Rosh Hashanah, stopping their slave labor and beginning their liberation from Egypt.
This is a day of joy. We are thankful for life, for the health and happiness that makes life bright and good, for our families and friends, and for all the rich blessings that we enjoy every day. We express our hope that all shall be blessed with health, happiness, and peace. Welcome to a new year. Today, we speak and sing in Hebrew, Yiddish, and Ladino, 3 of the many Jewish languages from ancient times to the present. Language is not only how we communicate, but how we tell our histories and maintain our cultures. Language is also an expression of community, unity, and continuity. Hebrew is the language of the Torah, the language of rituals that have resonated for generations.
Yiddish is the language of Ashkenazi Jews of Eastern Europe, the language that expresses the radical roots of Boston Workers Circle. Radical Yiddishkeit provides a direct connection between our Jewishness and our social activism today. Ladino is the language of Sephardic Jews who were expelled from Spain in 1492 and then migrated across Europe, North Africa, and the Ottoman Empire. Ladino is an expression of our Jewish diaspora and resilience. Hebrew, Yiddish, and Ladino are precious vessels of Jewish culture, reflected in music, literature, and humor. Singing and speaking these languages weaves together the vibrant tapestry of our culture. We honor our heritage from generation to generation, fundor sudor, de generacion en generacion. We now invite members of this year's Zion class, the B'nai Mitzvah class, to read the ancient words.
The ancient words. I don't understand them. They are in a language I do not know. Why are they so familiar? There is a rhythm to them, a beat, a pulse I understand, from somewhere very deep inside me, my heart, my soul. I am connected to a past I never lived and to a future I shall not know. A member of the human race, running through my time and still connected to many lives which came before me. So many cultures, faces, tears, and joys. A Jew connected to the past, to a future.
Hoping always that peace and love will finally come to all the world, that we may really live with no barriers, and each of us in the comfort and beauty of our varied traditions. Long before I understood what it means to be Jewish, I knew I was a part of something larger than myself, beyond my comprehension. I think of my family and my friends, my people and all the people in the world.
The living and those who live on in our hearts and minds, of the earth and all its creatures, of our universe, and I am reminded of my responsibilities to fulfill the promise of peace while I am on earth. Shalom. Adapted from Amelie Dina Ruth Mount.
Tashlich. Tashlich is a ritual of symbolically casting away breadcrumbs that symbolize the detritus of the old year and starting fresh in the new year. We cast away doubt, disbelief, and apathy. We embrace audacious hope. We cast away inertia and acceptance of things as they are. We embrace shared humanity and a belief in a better world. We cast away intolerance. We embrace bearing witness and raising our voices for equity and freedom. We cast away separation of families at our borders. We embrace sanctuary and refuge. We cast away indifference to the well-being of the earth and inaction in the face of the climate crisis. We embrace inhabiting our world more sustainably and standing up to Goliath, governments and corporations with courage and persistence. We cast away individualism, isolation, self-interest, and distraction. And we embrace connection, humility, and the hope of transformation. As a community, we cast away pessimism and cynicism, and we embrace the belief that we can be the change that we have been waiting for.
On Rosh Hashanah, as we reflect on the past year, we think about and project who we aspire to be in the year to come. We do this as individuals, as families, as communities, and in the world. Let us lift our voices for the future we envision.
This new song was written in connection with a women's march in Israel about 8 years ago, organized by Women Wage Peace, the Jewish leader of which was killed on October 7th. We're going to teach it to you.
From the north to the south, from the west to the east, hear the prayer of the mothers. Bring them peace, bring them peace.
Try that.
From the north to the south, from the west to the east. them peace, bring them peace.
The verses have a tune that's very similar to the refrain, so please sing with us. The ocean wind is a whisper blowing from far away. Here is calm, and the laundry it billows and bows to the shadows of the wall between the sky and the land. Cries for peace fill so many homes. Don't give up, keep on dreaming of peace and the promise to come. Matayim sukamot hapachad, yeshavti galuti, yipachu she'arai el hatov ha'amiti. From the north.
From the north to the south, from the west to the east, hear the prayer of the mothers. Bring them peace, bring them peace.
Children, so that they may sleep and be spared. Then off to school with the sunrise, to the sound of war and with a prayer. Lord Yesu, chamot hapachad, yeshavti from the north.
From the north to the south, from the west to the east, hear the prayer of the mothers. Bring them peace, bring them peace. From the north to the south, from the west to the east, hear the prayer of the mothers. Bring shalom, bring them peace. Asalam, asalam, leshalom, leshalom. Bring them peace, bring them peace.
A community of memory. Our common memory holds us together, despite war, persecution, and diaspora. Consider that our tradition does not require official clergy to lead prayer. A minyan of 10 ordinary people suffices. Thus, community is central to the practice of Judaism. It is noteworthy that on the days of awe, no deity can give complete forgiveness. Only another person can forgive us for the hurt we have caused them. This is the community of people that Judaism embraces.
It is through this connection to community that we pass on our traditions.
Is it enough to seek forgiveness only from other people?
What about the land, the plants, the animals, the natural resources we have hurt through our behaviors, which we're all experiencing in the disastrous consequences of climate change?
Let us seek reconciliation with everything we're connected to in this world.
Jews are a multifaceted community united by historic memory. We have been held up together and upheld by common remembering. Memory performs the impossible for us. It holds together the past and present and gives continuity and dignity to human life.
The Shema is often considered the singular statement of belief in Judaism. Many Jews have lived and died chanting these words. We sing the Shema today with many voices, to express our unity as a community, to honor the principle that we must all stay true to our own beliefs and speak them with pride and dedication. Listen up and to one another, people. Though we are many, we are also one.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
The text that immediately follows the Shema in a traditional service says, "These words shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, speaking of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up." Primo Levi's poem Shema is a commentary on this text. The Shema is supposed to be said aloud. It makes sense. We are crying out to one another, "Listen, Israel, act for democracy." This week, will you hear it? Shema. You who live secure in your warm houses, who returning at evening find hot food and friendly faces, consider whether this is a person who labors in the mud, who knows no peace, who fights for a crust of bread, who dies at a yes or a no. Consider whether this is a person without hair or name, with no more strength to remember, eyes empty and womb cold as a frog in winter. Consider that this has been, I commend these words to you. Engrave them on your hearts when you are in your house, when you walk on your way, when you go to bed, when you rise. Repeat them to your children.
Most of you know this song. If you don't, you'll know it very soon. So do Pat Humphrey's Crowd and make some nice harmonies. together we will rise. We will rise like the ocean, we will rise like the sun, we will rise all together, we will rise. In our many-colored fabrics made from strands of common threads, we will rise all together, we will rise. In the cold of fear and hatred, clothed in dignity we stand, we will rise all together, we will rise. We will quilt together, linking hearts with sticking hands, we will rise all together, we will rise. We will rise, we will rise like the sun, we will rise all together, we will rise. We are spirits drawn together by our common threads, we will rise all together, we will rise. From our children to our elders, from all nations we will rise. We will rise together, we will rise. May respect for all our differences enhance our common time. We will rise all together, we will rise. We will rise like the ocean, we will rise like the sun, we will rise all together, we will rise. We will build a global family strengthened by our common threads. We will rise all together, we will rise. We will rise all together, we will rise.
A secular Amidah. The Amidah, also called Shemona Esrei, or 18 Blessings, is the central prayer in the Jewish service. The traditional liturgy is a series of praises and sanctifications of God. It offers thanks for life, it asks for peace, it asks for help in being kind to others. It offers us a time of reflection and self-examination. For this reason, the prayer Unatona Tokef, central to the meaning of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, is added to the Amidah in the traditional Machzor, or High Holiday Prayer Book. Unatona Tokef, let us speak of the awesome. On Rosh Hashanah will be inscribed, and on Yom Kippur will be sealed, how many will pass from the earth, and how many will be created, who will live and who will die, who by water and who by fire, who by upheaval and who by plague, who will rest and who will wander, who will live in harmony and who will be harried, who will enjoy tranquility and who will suffer, who will be impoverished and who will be enriched, who will be humbled and who will be exalted. At the turning of the year, we look back, look ahead, see that we are always in the days between. Marcia Falk.
What we are shapes what we become. Unatana Tokef tells us that the child is the parent to the adult, but it tells us also that we are capable of changing the outcome through tefillah, tzedakah, and teshuvah. Tefillah, called prayer, derives from the word for honest self-reflection. Tzedakah, commonly called charity, derives from the word tzaddik, a person who acts justly towards others. Teshuvah, commonly translated as repentance, refers to repentance from chet, the Hebrew word for sin. This word has its origins in archery, where it meant missing the mark. Such is the Jewish concept of sin, the missing of one's goal, losing sight of the important things in life. But there's another way to understand teshuvah. The word can be translated to mean turning to hit the mark, turning back to ourselves and our values and our capacity to act justly in community and in this world. Our Jewish tradition calls us to honest self-reflection, justice, and turning. We must ask ourselves if we have hit the mark as individuals, as members of our family, and as members of our community.
By joining together today, we embrace a tradition over 3,000 years old and benefit from a conviction that the new year can be a creative moment. Together, we can help each other find the courage and time to turn. Turning. Now is the time for turning. For leaves, migrating birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively. But for us, turning does not always come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong. And this is rarely easy. It can mean losing faith. It can mean starting all over again, and this can be painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means admitting that we have the ability to change, and this can be embarrassing. These things are terribly hard to do, but unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. Adapted from Rabbi Jack Retner.
And let us consider our own current place in the original sin, committed over 400 years ago with the arrival of the first Africans sold into enslavement in North America. The whole history of the progress of human liberty shows that all concessions yet made to her have been born of earnest struggle. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are those who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Find out just what any people will quietly submit to, and you have found the exact measure of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them. And these will continue till they are resisted. Frederick Douglass, 1857.
In 1956, the Glen Canyon Dam began construction with an explosion, was hit with a demolition blast keyed by the push of a button in the Oval Office, the bottom of the canyon dotted by Navajo, Ute, Paiute footprints still cooling, the explosion, a scar in the earth still aching with uranium mines, yellow cake, yellow corn tumbled in the runoff. What do you call ancestral homestead? Stopped like a kitchen sink, the water of your people, redirected to ranches, fatten cattle that render the San Juan undrinkable, quench the white men in bars that don't admit Indians. Water and mineral packed into bombshells. How do you drown by your own artery? Today, the lake has never been shallower. A drought of its own becoming, not even time to weep. Before the crossing, before the fleeing, marina of familiar fossils, zebra mussels scour the bones of old adobe. Still beneath the surface, the ancient sun, rendered closer. Every day, as the ranchers lament the withering, the tourists, sticky with sun, dock their houseboats. The people who have known this land see the slick rocks still emerging. Kinsale Weston.
We have open rehearsals still for Best Welt on October 20th. So if you'd like to come and sing with us, please consider that. Well, that's all I have to say about this. Can I have a G?
Oh, we are women, and we are marching. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. We are marching for liberation. We want a revolution now. E questi fiore, partigiano. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E questi fiore.
October 20th. October 20th.
Questions. We invite you to rise in body or spirit and read aloud together. Let us ask ourselves hard questions. for this is the time for truth. How much time did we waste in the year that is now gone? Did we fill our days with life, or were they dull and empty? Was there love inside our home, or was the affectionate word left unsaid? Was there real companionship with our children, or was there living together and growing apart? Were we a help to our mates, or did we take them for granted? How was it with our friends? Were we there when they needed us or not? Did the kind deed, did we perform it or postpone it? The unnecessary jibe, did we say it or did we hold it back? Did we deceive others? Did we deceive ourselves? Did we respect the rights and feelings of those who worked with us? Did we acquire only possessions, or did we acquire new insights as well? Did we fear what the crowd would say and keep quiet when we should have spoken out? Did we mind only our own business, or did we feel the heartbreak of others? Did we live right, and if not, then have we learned, and will we change? Rabbi Jack Reamer.
More questions. Let us ask ourselves questions as seekers of justice and truth, for this is our time to turn. As we witness the widening divide in our country this year, did we too feel the pain of hatred? Did we challenge ourselves to open not only our minds, but our hearts and spirits to people who are different from us? Did we try to grow beyond our own opinions to see the sacred humanity of all people? Did we interrupt racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, and other hatreds in our daily lives? Did we celebrate the beauty of gender diversity, undermine binaries, and fight for loving, liberatory spaces for our siblings of all genders? Did we work for peace and justice in Israel and Palestine, or did we turn our heads in hopelessness and fear? If we support only Israel, or if we support only Palestine, can we open our hearts to the innocent lives on both sides of the separation wall?
Did we work for peace and justice in other parts of the world, such as Ukraine, a center of Jewish population and learning for centuries, and the place from which many of our ancestors emigrated? Did we examine our role in upholding systems of oppression, especially white supremacy? Did we march in the streets and then celebrate our victories as though the work was over? Or did we return home to continue the fight for justice? Did we limit our hearts and minds to the narrowness of the world as we currently know it? Or did we envision and contribute to making the world as we wish to see it? Which vision did we live by? Which world will we choose in the year to come?
A great rabbi once asked, "Why did God create atheists?" The rabbi said, "When atheists are moral and good and kind and compassionate, it is not because they believe God commanded them to do so, nor because they fear any punishment for being bad. Atheists perform acts of righteousness because they know it is right to do. Atheists help because they believe there is nobody else, no power that can or will act without their own deeds. So when someone is in need in our time of crisis, you shouldn't say, 'I'll pray for you,' or 'May God help you.' Rather, in this moment, you should be as an atheist. Believe there is no God who can help and say, I will help you.
As we close the old year and begin the new, we are called upon to reflect on how we have fallen short and on the harms we have caused or been complicit in. Through a commitment to repentance and repair, we are offered an opening to a way of being in right relation with our communities and within the wider world. Responding to that opening, Boston Workers Circle partners with BIPOC organizations working for a solidarity economy, building workplaces grounded in people's needs, not profits. Reparations, acknowledging and working to repair the harms of enslavement and its continuing afterlives. An end to incarceration in favor of reparative and transformative justice and investment in healthy, non-traumatizing, supportive communities. Democracy.
In the aftermath of Hamas's brutal attack on October 7th, our community came together in grief and heartache. We continue to mourn for the Israeli dead and yearn for the safe return of those who are still being held hostage. And as people of conscience, we hold that Palestinian lives are equally as precious as Israeli lives. As a community, we have refused to play into the false binary that either you support Jews by unequivocally supporting Israel or you support Palestinians. We know that as with all people, our destinies and our liberation are tied together. We know that there can be no real security for one people while mere miles away another is being starved, massacred, and forcibly expelled from their homes. Every day, the violence continues, more and more precious lives are lost, and the nightmarish conditions in Gaza grow more and more unimaginable. Every day, the violence continues, we find ourselves further away from our vision of a future of equality, freedom, and safety for all Palestinians and Israelis. As a community, we will continue to join liberatory, pro-democratic movements of all kinds, working toward a bessere Welt, a better world, and a just and lasting peace.
In Gaza, a mother never sleeps. She listens to the dark, searches its edges, sorts out sounds, sound by sound, to select a suitable story to read her kids to sleep. When they sleep, she stands up to shield them from death. A mother in Gaza does not cry. She folds up fear, rage, and prayers in her lungs and waits for the hum of warplanes to fade, then exhales. A mother in Gaza is not like other mothers. She bakes bread with her own eyes' salt. She feeds her children to the homeland. Nama Hassan, Palestinian writer and poet.
How can you protect the people with guns and soldiers? If peace does not come from the heart, how will it come? If we want to trust each other, we will have to build love to build peace. After we build this, then peace will come.
I had a box of colors, shining bright and bold. I had a box of colors, some warm, some very cold. I had no red for the blood of wounds. I had no black for the orphan's grief. I had no white for the dead faces and hands. I had no yellow for burning sands. But I had an orange for the joy of life, and I had a green for buds and nests. I had a blue for bright, clear skies. I had a pink for dreams and rest. I sat down and painted peace.
oib nish noch hecher. And every year, just before the days of Awe, the high holy days, the rabbi of Nimirov would vanish. He was not in the shul, nor in the study house, nor at home. Where can the rabbi be? Und der Nimirover flex Zeit jeden Frühmorgen nellem werden, verschwunden. Man fleckt ihm nicht sehen in Ergetz, nicht in Schul, nicht in beide Bote mit Roshim, nicht bei einem Minyan und in der Heim a Wade und a Wade nicht. Wo kann sein der Rebbe?
The people believed that the rabbi, so good was he, ascended to heaven to plead with God for the good health and fortune of the town's Jews in the year to come.
One day, a traveler came to Nemirov at this time of year. He heard the story of the rabbi disappearing and ascending to heaven and was full of doubt. The doubting traveler quoted a passage of the Gemara which said that even Moses did not ascend to heaven but remained suspended 2.5 feet below.
The traveler decided to follow the rabbi in secret to disprove the villagers. He hid near the rabbi's home, and the earliest hours before even the baker arose, the traveler saw the rabbi leave the house, dressed in tattered old clothes and carrying an axe. The rabbi walked for 2 hours until he came to a stand of trees. He took out his axe, chopped the trees into small logs, and tied them together with rope, and walked back towards the town.
On the outskirts of town, the rabbi stopped at a beaten-down house, half hidden behind a stone ledge. He knocked at the door.
I have extra wood, my friend.
Ah, dear woodcutter, I am a poor widow with nothing to pay you.
It doesn't matter. Already it has gotten cold, and you will need a warm fire to heat your home.
Thank you, dear woodcutter, but I cannot even bend down to kindle the fire today, for I am ill.
I shall do it for you.
He laid the wood, struck a match, and as the flames spread their warmth through the house, he quietly said the penitential prayers that preceded Rosh Hashanah. The woman, hard of hearing, could not make sense of the rabbi's words, but the traveler could hear them from his hiding place outside the window.
So impressed was he that the doubting traveler moved to the village and became a follower of the rabbi of Nemirov.
And ever after, when a follower of the rabbi tells how the rabbi ascends to heaven, the traveler quietly adds, if not higher. Und später, euer Chassid hat einmal erzählt, als der Nimirover häupt sich auf Schlicheszeit jeden Frühmorgen und flieht darauf in Himmel herein, fleckt schon der Litwak nicht lachen, nur zugeben Stillerheit, ob nicht noch hecher.
A wonderful benefit of being in a community is that it cuts through our isolation, especially in difficult or challenging times. All those who have family or friends who are ill or in need, we invite you to rise in body or spirit as we play the music for Misha Berach. May you and your loved ones be supported and comforted in this time of need.
Yizkor. At Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we set aside a special time for remembering the dead, to remember those who have gone before, and to remind ourselves how we should live. We invite you to read together. This is the time we remember those who gave meaning to our lives. This is the time we remember the bonds that tied us together, the love that we shared, and the memories that remain with us still. They are now part of the eternity that is human memory. In silence, we remember our family and friends who have passed away. At Yom Kippur, we will say these names aloud. In silence, we contemplate the empty spaces of their deaths have left in our lives. In silence, we celebrate the spaces in our lives that they have made richer, fuller, happier, more loving, and deeper in meaning. We mourn their deaths as we celebrate their lives, as we affirm life itself. Let us observe a moment of silence.
There are stars whose radiance is visible on earth, even though they themselves have disintegrated. And there are people whose memory continues to light the world after they have passed from it. These lights shine brightest in the darkest night. They light the path for us. Hana Sanesh.
It is an ancient custom to kindle the Yizkor candle and recite Kaddish for the departed. We invite you to rise in body or spirit and say Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמה רבה, בעלמה דיברה כראותה, וימליך מלכותה בחייכון ובמחון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמה רבה מבורך לעולם ועולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם, ויתנשא ויתהדר, ויתעלה ויתהלל שמה דקודשה. בריך הוא לעילה ולעילה, מן כל דיברכתה ושירתה, תשבוכתה ונחמתה, דאמריין בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. ויהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
May our lives be worthy of remembrance and provide sustenance and purpose to others after we die. Thus, the lives of those of us before, our own lives, and those who live to continue the work after us will be linked for all time.
We are so grateful to be in community with an honored guest this Rosh Hashanah. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, thank you for your presence today and for your tireless leadership. Thank you for your tireless leadership and service for building a better world for all. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Congresswoman Pressley, a true champion for justice.
Thank you. Before I begin, I wanted to invite you into something that is a part of my daily faith practice with my husband, Conan. And it is a meditation that I've been reading every day for almost 6 years now. It's from the President's Devotional. It was authored by Joshua Dubois. And it is entitled, A Gentle Battle. Every morning, we awaken to a gentle battle. The first few thoughts will either march out in the direction of busyness, worry, weariness, lust, depravity, or indifference. Or they will stand their ground for peace, for holiness, for love, for joy. We must not underestimate the difficulty of this fight, nor its import. Of all the negotiations and decisions of our day, this one is the most important. How will our minds be focused? As soldiers, in what direction will we march? This morning, each of you won that gentle battle. And I thank you for the intention with which you arrive at this high holiday. And I thank you for the warm embrace of fellowship. And as someone who grew up in a small storefront church that my grandfather, who's now an ancestor, pastored until he was well into his 90s, we had an enviable music ministry that people would travel from far and wide to be blessed by. Dare I say, I hope it's okay, Granddaddy, that the soloists and the choir today have rivaled that church tradition that I grew up with. So it is a sin to have a gift and to not share it. So thank you for the righteous stewardship of your gifts. It is beautiful to be here with you this morning. Thank you and for building this beautiful event to mark the high holidays. I hope that the holiday brings you meaningful reflection, time with loved ones, and a sweet new year. I recognize some of the people in the room today, so I know that I have some constituents here from the Massachusetts 7th, and it is certainly a deep honor to be your Congresswoman, but it is an even deeper honor still to be your sister in solidarity in the pursuit of justice and of healing. My mother, who is now also an ancestor, gifted me with one of the greatest gifts. It is my enduring and abiding faith. My faith in a power that is greater than me. My faith in the divinity. My faith in humanity. My faith in the power of radical love. I believe in the power of prayer and tradition. I believe that we are one human family, and I know that there is something truly powerful and transformative about the beloved collective community that I am bearing witness to today, where we are finding safety, connection, and visibility with one another. Judaism reminds us that every life is a universe. Every life is a universe. I have sat with these words many times this year in quiet moments by myself and in the company of those who have lost loved ones to horrific violence. Every life is a universe. As we mark Rosh Hashanah and the beginning of the new year together, I can't help but feel a sense of renewed hope for what is to come. I'm reminded of another affirmation that I say to ground myself, and it is that I choose the discipline of hope over the ease of cynicism, and I choose fortitude over fatalism. In these unprecedented times that call upon us to summon an unprecedented hope, a hope that is not fleeting or dismissive, but a hope that is deep, ancestral, and abiding. Hope is a discipline. In Boston Workers Circle, your compassion, your movement building, your camaraderie and your steadfastness renew my hope. My hope for a world where religious freedom is protected. My hope for a world where housing is a human right, where reproductive rights are protected and restored, authentically, unapologetically, without fear or discrimination. Hope for a world where every child is safe, and a world where access to health care is a human right. Hope for a world where vengeance is not a foreign policy doctrine. Regardless of our religion or nation of birth, we are one human family. We have a collective righteous mandate to save lives. We are all God's children, and blessed are the peacemakers. Now, I believe in the power of prayer, May we continue to pray for peace. But as the African proverb reminds us, when you pray, move your feet. So may we continue to pray for peace and to work for peace, to pursue a more just and equitable commonwealth, country, and world. Thank you.
Alone, you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they roll over you.
But two people fighting, back to back, can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge.
With four, you can play bridge and start an organization.
With six, you can rent a whole house, eat a pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen can hold a demonstration. 100 can fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter. 10,000 power and your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean. And each day you mean one more.
This year's Devar Torah will focus on pursuing justice for all peoples in Israel and Palestine. While our community holds a diversity of viewpoints on this issue, several years ago, we went through an intentional process to identify shared principles for taking action. Our Israel-Palestine principles make room for a range of perspectives while centering a vision of dignity, equality, justice, and human rights for all Israelis and Palestinians. We organize for justice in Palestine and Israel because we see it as part of working towards multicultural, multiracial democracy here in the United States and across the world. You can read more about our principles on our website and can connect to this work by joining our Israel-Palestine Committee. We look forward to hearing personal reflections from Helen Reisen, co-chair of BWC's Israel-Palestine Committee. Helen has been involved in civil rights and anti-war movements since she was a teenager. In addition to her long career as an engineer, innovator, and patent creator, Helen has pursued her lifelong passion for Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. For the past 6 years, she has pursued prison abolition as a member of Surge Boston and Palestinian liberation through the Israel-Palestine work at BWC. Thank you, Helen, for your leadership.
Nobody told me I had to follow Congressman Presley. There are specific images that resonate. The dead girl in the pink roller skates, the smashed solar cells of a Palestinian farmer, the murdered Israeli peace activist Vivian Silver's son, speaking of continuing her dedication to a path to peace, the white cloth kite that Rafat al-Arir calls on us to construct and fly if he must die. The numbers are overwhelming, and each day brings new reports of deaths, injuries, and devastation in Gaza, the West Bank, and now Lebanon. Adding to the horror in Palestine-Israel is a palpable threat that a fascist authoritarian could be elected president, the existential threat of climate change, and the many other crises in the world, including Ukraine, Sudan, and Yemen, to mention just three. It's hard at this point to keep taking it in. Two of my relatives of two different generations had the same passage from Deuteronomy as their Torah portion. See, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil. If you obey the commandments, then you shall live and multiply. But if your heart turns away and you will not hear, but are drawn away, you shall perish. I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life, that you and your descendants may live. What does it mean to choose life? Upholding the humanity of all peoples, speaking truth to power, practicing the discipline of hope, savoring life's wonders. Last October, as I witnessed the increasing dehumanization of Gazans, I saw parallels to my mother's Viennese grandparents, each of whom died during the Holocaust. Early in Hitler's reign in Austria, the Nazis allowed each of her grandfathers to be buried, and I have left pebbles on their graves. Her grandmothers, however, killed later, were not even worthy of burial. Sharing this family history, I gave a speech on October 27th, which is posted on the blog at BWC's website. In part, I said, "One thing that I know in the depth of my bones is that the dehumanization of my 4 great-grandparents and the other 6 million Jews killed in the Holocaust should not be compounded by the dehumanization of 2.3 million Palestinians, all of whom are being deprived of food, water, electricity, and medicine today in Gaza, a deprivation eerily similar to what my elderly ancestors experienced in Vienna more than 80 years ago. To choose life, we must uphold the humanity of all peoples, especially as Jews. Upholding the humanity of our Palestinian cousins is the only way to assure our own safety. In addition to upholding the humanity of each person, to choose life means to speak truth to power. In July, I went to New York to apply for my Austrian passport, reclaiming a citizenship that my 13-year-old mother lost when forced to leave Austria. While in New York, I came across a quote from Martin Luther King from 1963. King writes of racist narratives taken for fact and the inability of many to discern the true from the false. The quote ends with these words: "One of the great needs of mankind is to be lifted above the morass of false propaganda." Speaking the same year, James Baldwin identifies the duty to excavate the real history of this country, to tell us what really happened to get us where we are now. We must tell the truth till we can no longer bear it. King and Baldwin were speaking from their awareness of white supremacy, the lost cause myth, and the racist systems upon which the U.S. was founded and built. But their words are hauntingly applicable today. After the 1982 Israeli invasion of Lebanon, June Jordan, in her essay, Life After Lebanon, recognized similarities between the oppression of black peoples and of Palestinians. Quote, Israel looked a whole lot like yet another country run by white men whose militarism tended to produce racist consequences, that is, the disenfranchisement and subjugation of non-white peoples not nearly as strong as they. In two BWC study groups, one focused on anti-racism and one on Israel-Palestine, along with some of you, I have continued a lifelong process of uncovering the truth. We've learned how Israel consistently works to undermine Palestinian self-rule, using techniques from assassination to disrupting attempts to unify disparate Palestinian groups. Nonviolent protests by Palestinians are violently crushed by Israel, as happened with the Great March of Return in Gaza. In fact, what we are witnessing today is a continuation of what started before Israel was founded, an ongoing campaign of ethnic separation and ethnic cleansing. We recently read Mother of Strangers, a fact-based novel situated in Jaffa in 1947 to 51. It recounts how a Jewish terrorist force, the Irgun, destroyed a whole neighborhood of Jaffa in April of 1948, using mortar shells stolen from a British train. What wasn't blown up was declared abandoned, and Jewish settlers took over the homes of Palestinians who had fled the bombs. This was an attack on a city that was part of the Palestinian side of the UN-enacted partition, and these attacks contributed to the wider plan to take more territory for Israel before it was even officially founded. While it may be hard to face, these are but a few of the truths about the oppression of Palestinians. As an Israeli American said to me recently, there is a racist privilege of not knowing. As we continue to speak truth to power, we work to be among those who know. Hope is another aspect of choosing life. Noted prison abolitionist Miriam Kaba observed that hope is a discipline. Kaba uses this phrase to counter the feeling of being overwhelmed. She reminds us that it takes work to remain hopeful, and we must make it a daily practice to keep going. I recognize that for Black people in this country and for Palestinians in Gaza, the West Bank, and Israel, there is no alternative to hope. When oppressed, you have to believe that there's a better place, and there will be a better time when your struggle will prevail. But for those of us who are supporters of the struggle against oppression, we also cannot afford to give up hope. Out of hope, we continue to act, to protest, to write letters, to engage in mutual aid, to build movements. And we have a responsibility, just as Kaba says, to continue to practice the discipline of hope, especially in the face of the horrors we are witnessing. During the past few months, I often thought about what to say today. As I was kayaking around Center Pond in Maine, I savored many sights. The pitcher plant, revealed through its star-shaped blossom, the tiny pink orchids, the 2-foot-long snapping turtle that suddenly appeared beside my kayak, the wild blueberries, the pair of loons with their 2 babies. These small treasures fill me with wonder. Witnessing the wonders in our world is another part of choosing life, along with grander occasions, such as a family wedding or the birth of a grandchild, for me, coming in March. These joyous events embody our hope for a better world in the future. Choose life and its blessings. Uphold the humanity of every single person. Tell the truth till we can no longer bear it. Practice the discipline of hope. Savor life's wonders. In June Jordan's essay, Some of Us Did Not Die, she writes about hearing a Holocaust survivor say, quote, I guess it was my destiny to live, unquote. This reminds me of years ago when I was 21 and was hit by a car while riding a bicycle. Visiting me in the hospital, my mother, a Holocaust refugee, said to me, "When you survive something like this, you have to think about why." I want to answer her question by quoting from Jordan's essay. In the aftermath of 9/11, Jordan wrote about her vision of an inclusive, secular democracy for the U.S., a vision I share and imagine might also be applied to Israel-Palestine. The humane, secular potential of democracy rests upon the conviction that just because you exist, you, male, female, Jew, Gentile, Muslim, poor, rich, smart, beautiful, lazy, scientific, artistic, gay, straight, bisexual, Republican, you are equal under the law, and it is the law which reigns as the supreme organizing governance of our experiment. That is the humane, secular basis for a democratic state. I hope we will bestir ourselves to rally around an emergency, militant reconstruction of a secular democracy consecrated to the equality of each and every living one of us. Some of us did not die. We're still here. I guess it was our destiny to live, so let's get on with it. Or, in the words of Deuteronomy, choose life, that you and your descendants may live.
I am very lucky that I get to sing this song because this is a song I got to grow up with Helen's kids and have Helen as a extra parent. And this is definitely a song that I associate with Helen and the incredible ability to keep marching when we need to.
Starvation, arise, ye wretched of the earth, for justice thunders condemnation, a better world's in birth. No more traditions strange shall bind us, arise, ye slaves, no more in thrall. The earth shall rise on new foundations, we have been not, we shall be all. 'Tis the final conflict, let each stand in their place. The international working class shall be the human race. 'Tis the final conflict, let each stand in their place. The international working class shall be the human race.
Hello, everyone. Shana Tova. I'm Rebecca Hornstein. I'm the executive director of the Boston Workers Circle. And I'm so grateful to be here with all of you as we reflect on the past year and prepare for the year ahead. It has been a year of such heartbreak and devastation, and I would not have wanted to move through this year in any other community. Thank you for making BWC a place where we can support each other to fight for our people and fight for all people. Thank you for doing the hard work of holding disagreement while clarifying and taking action around our shared values. Thank you for caring for each other, struggling with each other, and listening to each other with resilience. And thank you for being here today. I'm going to turn now to thanking those who made this service possible, starting with our Devarist, Helen Raisin. Thank you so much for sharing your powerful words with us. I want to thank the Ritual Committee, who has done an incredible job holding this space for us and giving us so much hope and joy today. Chaired by Linda Gritz. And the rest of the committee, Amy Pett, Rochelle Rothschild, Polly Katz, and Zohar Berman. Want to thank the Logistics Committee. Logistics is really an act of love, I think, doing all the behind-the-scenes work to make the day possible. And that's Jenny Silverman, Bob Follensby, Michelle Golden, and Zohar Berman. Thank you. Want to thank the rest of the staff for, all of the tireless behind-the-scenes work for months to bring us to this place. Meira Soloff, Sandy Martin, Zohar Berman, and Melissa Sawyer-Greer. Thank you all. Thank you to our band for bringing in the music. And that's Lisa Gallatin, Phoebe Rosen, Noli Rosen, Bob Follensby, Polly Katz, Linda Gritz, Michael Frank, and Dan Shore. We will, soon be hearing from our amazing shofar blower, Cosmo Bargov. So thank you in advance, Cosmo. And thank you to our ASL interpreters, Ellen Vershbo and Rainey Lee, for really making sure that everyone can be with us on this powerful day. I want to thank Elliot Church, our hosts, and especially Richard Stroshane, who always supports us so well for High Holidays. The sound engineers in the sanctuary, Mike Katz and Rahul Bhargav, thank you for making sure we can hear. Andrew Nicastro, our live streamer, who makes sure that all of the folks virtually, virtual joiners, can really be here with us. Thank you to our children's program teacher, Mateo Rojas, for supporting the kids and being part of the day. And to all of our readers and volunteers, which too many to list, so I think we've heard enough names, but thank you all. We want to welcome all of you to join us for a kiddush afterwards outside on the lawn, and more instructions will be shared a little bit later as we'll read the blessings here. I also want to just share, we have a bunch of upcoming events designed to connect people into the community, connect or reconnect you in. So there's a flyer with more information that you should get. It should be outside. And folks online, you can see the flyer at the link that should be in the live stream chat. Just a couple things to shout out. We want to just invite everyone this coming Sunday to the Brookline Reservoir at 2 p.m. for a community Tashlich casting off ceremony to mark the anniversary of October 7th and mourn the lives lost that day and all the lives lost in the year since. So just a place to really be together as a community marking 1 year. I also want you to invite you to join us here for Yom Kippur on October 12th. There's still tickets available for the live stream, and I think we're just about full for in-person, but you can double check and see if there's anything available. If you're attending in person and would like to do a reading, stay tuned for a notice about selecting a reading so you too can be part of holding the community. And there's feedback, a place to give feedback in your program, so let us know what you thought. And you can see the last page of the program and fill out the evaluation form, either on paper or online. And I just also want to encourage people to join as members. We've grown our membership of this community 20% this year, so we have so many new people. So many new people joining in, and we just really want to welcome you in. If you haven't joined as a member yet, we would love to have you as a member. And if you are new this year, just keep an eye out. We're going to have an event to really welcome in all of our new folks in the coming month. So keep an eye out for that. We're so happy that you've made your way here. And to everyone old and new, just so happy to have you here and to be together. And Shana Tova to all of you.
Go in front of the table.
The shofar is an ancient tool. It was used by villages to communicate with neighbors across vast distances. Someone would climb to the top of a nearby hill and blow the shofar in the direction of the neighboring towns, initiating a chain of blasts from village to village through the desert. The shofar was sounded to announce festivals and victories and the threat of invasion, storm, and war. When the sound was heard, people knew it was time to listen and to act. Today, we sound the shofar to announce the start of the new year. Wake up, it demands. Notice that another year has passed. The shofar call has 3 parts, culminated by a very long blast. These parts are tekiah, 1 long note to sound the alarm. This is the sound of remembrance. Another year of life has gone by, and we must ask ourselves how we have lived during the last year. Shavarim, 3 sets of low and high notes. Each low note reminds us that life may bring fear, frustration, tragedy, and sorrow. Each high note gives hope that life will also bring us happiness and serenity. Teruah, 9 short notes for the call to arms that asks each of us to make a personal commitment to liberation of all oppressed people and to the end to exploitation and tyranny in all forms. Call out the shofar's notes and it will answer. Tekiah. May the sound of the shofar shatter our complacency and make us conscious of our weaknesses and our strengths. Teruah. May the sound of the shofar remind us that it is time to proclaim liberty throughout the land and for all the inhabitants thereof. Tekiah Gedolah.
This is the beginning of the new year. Today begins the 10 days of awe, the period from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. 10 days in which we reflect on the year we've just concluded and prepare for the year before us. For us, as for our ancestors, this 10-day period presents us with a time and space for honest self-reflection, forgiveness, healing, and resolve. May we create for ourselves, our family, friends, and community a year of health, happiness, and peace. And now we turn to our neighbor and say, a good yontif, a good yor, añada buena, dulce y alegre.
Great. Quickly we're going to say the blessings over the wine and the challah. This is the last thing standing between us and wine and challah and schmoozing, so we'll keep it quick, but I wanted to take this opportunity just to introduce the staff of Boston Worker Circle, just so you know who we are and who to get in touch with, and have faces for all the emails that you get all the time. So again, I'm Rebecca Hornstein. I'm the executive director.
Hi, I'm Allie Rice. I'm the deputy director.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zohar Berman. I'm the organizer here at BWC.
Meira Soloff, education director at the BWC.
Melissa Sawyer-Greer, the communications manager.
This was Melissa's first full week at BWC, so welcome her. And Sandy Martin, our incredible operations manager, had to leave early, but she really, is such a backbone of the community and really did so much to make this day possible. So we're shouting her out. All right, and now we'll start with the blessing over the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
In Ladino we say, según la tradición de nuestro pueblo, decimos con joya, gracias que podemos continuar, beber poco de vino en juntos.
In Yiddish we say, lo mir begrüßen dem Neujahr mit Dankschaft und teilen sich mit der Frucht von dem Wein, which in English means, as we enter into this new year, we are grateful that we can share the fruit of the vine together.
And then for the blessing over the challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam chamotzi lechem min haaretz.
In Ladino we say, según la tradición de nuestro pueblo, mos comer en juntos el challah, el pan de la tierra.
In Yiddish we say, Leuten Yiddischen Mineg teilen mir challah die Frucht von der Erde, which in English means, in the tradition of our people, we share bread, the fruit of the earth.
We're going to have our wonderful musicians close us out, and then we're looking forward to joining you at the Kiddush outside.
And if parents can come and pick up your children from the front of the room, that would be great. All right. Good Yontif, good Yor.
Mir begrüßen euch und vor, Schöne Teufel, a gut Jahr. Wir begrüßen euch und vor, Schöne Teufel, a gut Jahr. Wir begrüßen und wir wünschen Freuden freut dem ganzen Dort, Lashon Toive, Kol Yisrael, a good yor, Lashon Toive, Kol Yisrael, a good yor, a good yor, a good yor, a good yor.
Good Yantif, good Yor.